I'm shocked, Paige. That's incredible. And only twice?
What are you on about, Paul? You're terrible. Don't mind him, everybody. I'm on hour 16 of my 24 and 24 for Sam's, where every hour on the hour today, 24th of July, so 247, 247 for those of us who are using the UK date format to raise visibility for my charity, my branch, Samaritans, because what I want to do is to create a space to have conversations that matter. And if we do more of that, I think we would be able to um, reduce suicides because people are able to share kind of the things that they're going through. And the topic at the moment is neurodiversity and mental health. And for this, I have Mr. Paul Ginsberg. Hello.
Hello, I'm Mr. Paul Ginsberg. There we go.
Ginsberg, yes. I'm just going to briefly introduce how I knew Paul, and it's a meeting that sticks in my mind and blows me away for so many reasons. We met, I think, 2023 in January properly, which was a sprint commons in London. We were doing little projects on tables, and Paul comes by and he says, "Hello, everybody. I'm Paul. I'm autistic and I've got ADHD, and this is how I operate. I'm very blunt. I'm very straight. Please be that way back to me. I do not mean to be rude. It's just who I am." And what I loved about his introduction was that straight away everyone knew how to be with him, how to communicate with him, and I could see collectively there was like a relief. We knew how, it's like an operating manual. So I'm not going to get upset when Paul is this way to me because it's just the way he is. And he won't get upset if I'm blunt back.
Please, please, life is so confusing for me otherwise.
I love that so very much. It's like someone coming up and saying, this is the manual of me. This is how I work. And I am so fortunate to call Paul a friend because he
Because we are.
yeah, yes.
Okay, do you know it's two-way? If you
I
call me a friend, that means I get to call you a friend?
yes,
See,
it
I
is.
benefit. Pay doesn't see this, folks. This is really strange. Pay appears to be an intelligent lady, and yet
No, I mean,
you're a wonderful friend to me as well. It's a
yeah,
two-way street.
oh. But especially so because of the ADHD thing, you're helping me understand this thing because at least two of my children talks a different language than I do, and the brain is wired different,
Yeah.
and it's so helpful when I tell you what I'm going through, and you say, "Well, that's because this," and I thought, "Yes, of course it is," and I'm so glad to that you've stepped up to do this with me as well. So yeah,
Cool.
take it away, Paul.
Cool. First of all, I want to do a shout. Yes, Chris, I have a decaf coffee or something like that, please. Thank you very much for hanging with us. I can't reply. I don't have a facility to reply to, but yeah, no. Actually, it turns out I can't have caffeine at all. I get paranoid if I have caffeine. So that's not a good. It's that I'm really worried. But also, why are you staring at me like that? Because you're staring at me. And actually, that brings us on to like straight into neurodiversity and neurodivergency. So I just want to clarify. So neurodiversity is everyone. Within that, you've got neurotypical, which is 80% of people, and then you've got neurodivergent because they're diverging from the norm, which is 20% of people.
Question:
Yeah,
is it really 80%? Because I feel like it's becoming less and less. I don't know.
right.
Or is it in the tech sector? I don't
Right.
know.
So, well, there's a few things going on here. So let's just clarify. Neurodivergency is ADHD, common understanding. There's different understandings, but the common understanding is ADHD, autism, gifted, which is broadly high IQ. You can also call it other things. Uh, there isn't quite a formal definition, so it's an interesting one. Tourette's, dyslexia,
Mm.
uh, dysgraphia, dyspraxia. I've got dyspraxia, dyscalculia.
Mm.
Dyspraxia. So I think that's a lot. Lots of things starting with dys, basically. I'm autistic and ADHD, as has been commented. And to demonstrate, I've already. Is it just 20%? Well, funnily enough, I'm putting an article in for Salesforce Ben that's been approved, so it'll go through. I'm writing it up now about why in the tech sector and particularly in Salesforce it's higher. It appears higher. So there's two things going on here.
Mm.
One, like attracts alike. Is like for me, it's like, but I know loads of Jewish people. Everyone must know loads of Jewish people. There's a reason for that. I go to synagogue. This kind of helps me understand and meet other Jewish people. It's all the time. I go to synagogue occasionally. Weddings, simchas, Um, and likewise, if you talk in a way that isn't always linear, apparently this is very confusing for other people. Other people are strange. I just want to tell you, other people are very strange. So I hang around quite a lot with people that understand me. Now, did I know that the person that I was going to be sitting next to at school, my surname is Ginsberg, his was Gionis. We got on very well. Did I understand that he was neurodivergent back in many years ago? No, but we got on very well because we understood each other. And so basically, you could be in a room of 10 people, and like when you're doing that social networking awkward thing, and then you end up having, hi, how are you? Lovely. Oh, yeah, yeah. Very nice to meet you. I'm just going to make sure I make my way around the room. And then suddenly you meet someone, and you're like, oh, hold on, this person, I'm like having a really good conversation. It's going somewhat deeper, and I feel a bit more comfortable. It's because you're clicking with them, because you're understanding, because consciously or even subconsciously, the vibes you're sending out and the way that you're talking and the concepts you're discussing and the way that you're discussing them click. So then we get to the Salesforce ecosystem. We've got Salesforce, so there'll be other people listening because who know and love Pay. Salesforce is a platform mainly with a lot of innovation. Very interesting, keeps on changing. What does that sound like? I'm going to have to do it. ADHD, so you don't have to think back to it. It's got a lot of deep dive into it where you can get really lost in the weeds and go, oh shit, I should have done that. Thank you, autism. Yep. I'll come back now and realize that I'm 3 days late on the other deadlines because I got really locked into something. So that's the. And then one more. I'll go for one more and then I'll come back to pay. It's also got gifted, which is looking at which is darting around from topic to topic and spotting connections that other people won't spot. And that's kind of the gifted. Now, gifted and ADHD and even autism, there's lots of overlap. So I'm not very strict on the definitions, but that's why Salesforce attracts people like us, because it's really interesting. And that's not to say that neurotypicals can't get into it, but that explains why it's a higher proportion than you would find elsewhere. Or really into, and then in the ecosystem, we've got these safe spaces. So like I'm wearing my Trailblazer community t-shirt. So you've got the user groups, and there is actually a neurodivergency user group. I think it's neurodivergency, 99% sure. If you go to the Trailblazer community, there's also a mental illness user group, and I hate that word. Absolutely hate it. Like, you should be focusing on what you're trying to achieve here. But anyway, it's called mental illness. I'm doing a presentation there in September, just saying. But lots of people, we know how to create safe, welcoming spaces. So when I went to my first user group, I was scared. I was like, oh, I don't know if this is going to be for me. But because it was a safe space, that meant it was welcoming to me. So I hung around. And because there is this, like, decades old now, it's like 25 years it's been running, and the community group's been running at least over 15 years. We've got that history of creating safe spaces. And so people, when we find the safe spaces, and that was it. It was creating that space, which goes back to what Pei was saying right at the very beginning, creating that space just to, and I can't remember the context, I just wrote the word creating because I had to write a note, but creating that space to be ourselves and to explore. And if we're going to go from the mental health angle, that's what we need. We need that safe space to explore. And I think that's really important. I don't feel we don't always have that space in society. We're always driven. We should have a
Mm.
solution. It should be black. It should be white. White. Well, I've got news for you. I've got ADHD and autism. Sometimes they work really nicely together, but that's only sometimes. Sometimes they're really fighting each other. I'd have to go, right, thank you very much. That aspect of my brain, I can see where you want to get to, but I'm also got this, which is wanting something entirely different at the moment. Can you have a chat amongst yourselves and tell me how you're going to balance it today? I have to recognize that it's happening. That takes practice. But first, I draw the awareness, and later, over time, over practice, I get there. But that's the creating space, and I think this is what Sam was also talking about in the previous session, which is architects and consultancy and neurodiversity. Um, he's created space to step back and go, I've made these observations of what's going on. Now I'm going to try and work out what's going on with those observations. Rather than trying to come out with a solution, he said, this is what's happening. What's the best fit here? What can I do with this? Or what feels right to me? Not what everyone else is saying, because if we look at, I've just been on a roll, but if we look at the noise, so if you're on a search engine, if 80% of the things are saying these are the answers, you might not get to that last 20%, which says these are the answers for you, because you are part of that 20%. And that's where the mental health stuff kicks off and the anxiety kicks off, because the messages you're seeing are targeted at the 80%, not the 20%. Hey, please interrupt me. You did ask a question about 5 minutes ago.
You answered it already, because I thought when you said, "Oh, this is the reason why," because there's lots of things that are interesting that you can deep dive. And I'm thinking, I like those other things, and I think a lot of neurotypicals also would like that. And then you answered it, so that that's kind of
We're not entirely different from the neurotypicals. I still wear, I put it on today. I've got dusted it down. I wear my golden hoodie, but I wear a t-shirt. I understand neurotypicals also wear t-shirts. Sometimes, quite often, our needs, our interests overlap, but not always, or sometimes they just present differently. Just going to have a quick look at the comments that have come in. So someone said it's Trailhead is perfect for ADHD. Yep, because we break it down into tiny, tiny, tiny things, and then you get a kick. An ADHD, so I'm an ADHD coach, and hopefully I'll get around to telling haters to mention naturallypool.com is a great website for starter resources. But one of the things that I get around to, one of the things that we discover, that my clients discover, is breaking things up into the smallest possible unit is absolutely great. And so Trailhead, with all its micro badges and all those points and its gamification, it's interesting, it's absolutely great for ADHD. Well, if the platform's great for ADHD, it attracts people, and therefore, yeah, there's a lot of people with ADHD in the ecosystem. Someone else said it might be the same person. It's such a spectrum. I find it hard to draw the line. Absolutely. But here's the thing. Pei and I are both wearing glasses. The definition of ADHD is if you need assistance, then this might not be the definition, but I'm going to go with it. And I quite like doing things live because I'm quite a perfectionist, and I just don't have the opportunity today because, Pei, this only came out last week, and I volunteered. It's like, okay, I don't have time to prep. Great. But back to the glasses. Pei and I wear glasses, so we don't have normal eyesight. That's the definition. We've still got eyesight, but we don't have normal eyesight. And so with ADHD, where it is causing you a problem in day-to-day life, it's a really bad definition, by the way. But anyway, where it's causing you a problem in day-to-day life, that means you've got ADHD. Doesn't tell you the quality, the extent, if you're very ADHD. But sometimes it's like, oh, that person's very ADHD. So yeah, within that community, we do say that. But it means you've got aspects that you need help with. And the line is, if you need help, you need help. And that's where the community, however you define, I'm going to say the community, is also medical professionals, but we all know they're overwhelmed. That's where the community is here to help you. And I will do it because this is on mental health. So for me, ADHD side, there's things like using Facebook, Eventbrite, and Meetup to find your local peer-to-peer support group for ADHD. And most of them won't say that you need a formal diagnosis. If you think you've got ADHD, then there's a 90% chance that you do. It's not 100% because there's things like trauma which can which can have very similar output but have different causes and need different treatments. But with ADHD, there's community support out there as well as a medical thing. But it's a spectrum. It is a line. The science, I mean, one of the key takeaways is the science is changing all the time. So I'm a late diagnosed 4 years ago. It keeps on creeping up, which I mean, it's better than disappearing. But anyway, 4 years ago. But 2013, it was well. This isn't pay, but pay. You're female. Females don't have ADHD. They can't get ADHD. You might have borderline personality. You might be just quite a fake because you keep on drifting off. The sexism is terrible, but also so actually ADHD in girls that's been recognised for a while. But 2013 was when it was discovered you could be ADHD and autistic. Before then, which would you like? Would you like the autism or the ADHD? You can choose one, and therefore one diagnosis path. The science around this is changing, and Pay said about this 20% neurodivergency. How we label that in the future, I think that those are all going to change. But by having a label, it's a tool, nothing more and nothing less, and it gives us access to start looking at this issue. Because actually, I was listening to stuff about emotions. So Pay will very much deal with emotions in the Samaritans work. Sometimes you need to have a word, like when you're like, oh, and it's like, are you anxious? Oh yeah, I'm anxious, and suddenly it gives you release to have a word, and there's a lot of power in having the right vocab to understand yourself.
Thank you for that, Paul. I want to bring you back to actually your crib sheet.
Yeah.
Because all that is like super interesting, but I'm liking what I say. I want to make sure that we give enough time to all the things in there. So please, can you like focus on that one?
No. But also, I think I sent Pay a crib sheet, but the stuff that I've been talking about is the general concepts for the mental health. It's actually going to the roots. And so that thing about having anxiety, if you've got so the thing about being neurodivergent, you're trying to fit in to a neurotypical world which isn't designed for you. And the analogy I heard really recently is really cool. It's like if you're 6'4", 2 meters plus, and you're trying to sleep on a bed that's designed for, I don't know, how tall are you, Dave? 5'4"?
5'2".
5'2". So if you're 6'4", trying to sleep on a bed for 5'2", it's not going to be a pleasant experience. And so that's what leads to anxiety. So I used to suffer with depression. I used to suffer with anxiety. They almost disappeared. I'm not going to say quite overnight, but massively reduced because I had a label. I understood why I wasn't fitting into the world. So that's one of the big things. So basically our mental health prospects, because we've been trying to fit in, and it's just been clashing the whole time for 20-30 years, causes problems and that leaves scar marks, which you then can try and chip away at or work around. And sometimes it leaves wounds. If it leaves a wound, you need a therapist. Line is, if it leaves a scar, then a coach can help and other friends can help. So that's how we look at it. Right, I'm now actually going to look at the sheet and see what else I was meant to, what advice. So I've written. I mean, so I've got a talk coming up, which focuses on perfectionism, masking perfectionism, and burnout. So I'm not going to repeat that. That comes later. But these are really common issues because to fit into the neurotypical world, sometimes you wear a mask because you just have to get by in life. And again, it's very borrowing still from absolutely everyone. So if you're wearing a mask and you're wearing it all the time, it becomes quite heavy. Like you can wear a mask for a day. Like we all go out. Like some idiot I know, some wonderful person decided to do a 24-hour thing, and you can just about get away with that for a day. 2 days? 3 days? No, you don't want to do like 3 times 4, 24 times 7. You're not. No? Okay. So you can do it for a while, but if you do it too much, it causes long-term damage. And so that's the masking aspect. We mask to fit in, but if you do it too much, if you don't have the release, and actually, do you know what? Pay can do 24 hours if it's divided and if there's a break. Oh, I don't know, about 6 hours for pleasure or family life. These might not be the same things, and like 9 hours for sleep. Like, if you do that, and then you could just do that work on a continuous, regular basis if you've got the breaks. So it is possible, but that's where the masking comes in. It's about learning to understand what we all have to mask. That's reality, but it's working out what situations, what parts, and all that. So it's all about reconnecting and rediscovering yourself and trying to understand what's true, what's new. And for me, it's about driving back to what your values are and trying to retune to your values. That's not, and people think it's about money. Oh, I need this and I need that. And it's like, Elon Musk, is he a happy person? So, like, money doesn't, there's a cliche, money doesn't buy you happiness, but you do need a certain amount. And so the rest is just negotiation. Um, Back to the mental health. Looking at the time, gonna speak. So perfectionism, it's a really, really big issue. So going back to the gifted, um, if you're used to this was well, I still try to be a perfectionist, even though this wasn't me at school. If you're used to getting 100% at everything, coming out easy with the exams, and then you get to university, some people still cruise university, but when you get to the world of work, and it's just different, and you're looking up to people, and you think you look up to Pay and say, well, Pay can do this. Surely I can do this. Got news for you. Pay can't do everything that I can do. I'm not entirely sure what those things are, but there's definitely some things that I can do that Pay can do. And what people do, and it's a real issue actually in the Salesforce community, is when people post and say, rah, 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 I've done this. What you're not seeing is the choices that they haven't made or how long it actually took them to do these things. And again, some of the work that I do now, and it's really helped me, made me become healthier, is realize that you have to practice these things. You don't learn a language overnight. Like, Pay is one of the most compassionate people I know. And some of that has come naturally, but even with the Samaritans, they provide training on a regular basis because there's grit that comes up in everyday life. And so the practice, like learning a language, you do not learn Spanish or Dutch. You do not learn Dutch overnight, I can assure you. But you can get there if you practice. You can get there to a certain level if you practice often enough. And so what we fail at, and I'm going to go we, lots of people, most people fail at in everyday life because again we see it all on social media, these kind of instant wins. It's not true. It all takes practice. So you, because like someone's complained to me they're no good at flow. Well, flow might just not be for them. But on the other hand, no one's learned flow overnight. So you've got to decide which camp you're in. You've got to put a reasonable amount of time into it, or say, actually, I hate this. Like I was trying to take an exam, can't remember, Experience Cloud. And I was studying, and I was like, I was really putting it off. And then I thought, you know what? I've done a few hacks here. I've done a bit. So I'll take the exam. I took a focus on force exam. Absolutely hated it. It's like, this is the dullest exam I've ever taken. And then I realized, why am I looking at this shit? If that's what the exam material is, this is not for me. There's other things that I clearly enjoy here. So that was definitely going off topic. But anyway, hopefully that gives you an insight into the key takeaway is practice. It's really tedious, but actually it can be really fun. If you tell yourself it's going to be tedious, it's going to be tedious. If you tell yourself it's going to be fun and you're going to come out learning something, and you'll get one, the Dutch line is you have to walk the meters to make the kilometers. Unless you take that first step, you're never going to get to the 1,000th kilometer or the 24th hour of a long, of a day-long talking thing. Right, let's go. Sleep disorders. So I've got one which says common issues. Sleep disorders. I'm going to throw that out because I really like that one because I had that. My brain's really overstimulated at night. That's ADHD. It's also working with your body. I've got a shifted, as common with many ADHDs, I've got a shifted circadian rhythm. So 11 o'clock. If I start work at 11 o'clock, I'm nice. I'm almost polite. Almost. If I start work at 7 o'clock in the morning, I can do about 2 hours and then that's it for the day. So I can do it, but it's not good. You have to learn to work with your body. No matter how many Wim Hof methods you try, it's not going to change my eye color from blue to brown. I can cover it up with contacts, but it's not going to fundamentally change it. And even Olympians, they've done tests. Some Olympians will run better in the afternoon than the morning, even on the day of the Olympics. So it's just luck as to when their races are. You've got to work with your body, basically. Right, what else? Solutions. Okay, I've got some bits on solutions. I've got some time. So just like my ethos is that you actually have the solutions. You might have done it once and it worked for you, but you have to kind of, as an adult, not as children, that's a different game. I don't get involved with working with youngsters. As an adult, you actually know what works for you, but you just haven't trusted yourself. Circumstances haven't permitted you to understand and to get there. One of the big things you can do is journaling. That telling yourself two good things that you've achieved in the day, two things that you value about yourself. Day one, it's not going to work. You have to commit to doing this for a few weeks, and then you start to see it. It's really hard. So an accountability partner, actually having a friend that just says, "Oh, have you done that?" in a nice tone that doesn't wind you up. So you have to choose the right friend. Maybe not a mother. Just saying. It really depends on. Sorry, I don't know. I was just guessing. Sometimes it can work. Sometimes, but not all the time. Depends on what it depends. Context. Context is key. Um, but journaling actually is one of those things that really helps. Mindfulness is clinically proven to help, as weirdly and really annoyingly, exercise. For me, it's a weekly swim. I feel amazing. I go to my local council pool. I absolutely feel amazing. I go at a time where I go just before closing, and it's really quiet, and I absolutely love it. Exercise is clinically proven to help you, but you need to find the right thing. So it can be a walk, it can be a cycle, it can be yoga, whatever it needs to be. It needs to be. Speaking out loud. I'm just going through my list randomly here. Speaking out loud. Better if you speak to someone else, but it activates different. If you've got the brains all going internal, going mad, speaking out loud activates different parts of your brain, and also you hear it through your ears. So it actually, and then it's like, oh, someone else has said that. So you're kind of cheating your body, and I love cheats. So it's also part of the reason actually why I guess are called to the Samaritans. Like, so if you're in distress, they're not just there for suicide; they're there for other issues as well. If you speak out loud, you kind of go, oh, well, actually, yeah. Or when you've got a problem and you go to a colleague, how do I do this? And you go, oh, I know the answer, actually. You're not being stupid. You've actually just you're helping yourself. It's about the reframe. You're actually helping yourself. I think that's a really nice point. You're helping yourself. Um, Very quick. There's so much more I could speak on this stuff.
Yeah.
Flexible working environments, open conversations, trying to have that conversation with your manager saying, can we just try something? It's not for everyone. We're just trying it for me. This is what we call a reasonable accommodation. But we're only going to try it for 2 weeks. Because if there's, oh, we're going to have to change the whole process. Oh, why don't we just think it through and try it for 2 weeks? To see if it works before getting anyone else involved.
Yeah.
And see how that goes. So that's my current one is try something for 2 weeks. I'm just going to have a really quick yeah, and people are beautiful. Reach out to me. I'm very happy to have conversations because I noticed we're coming out to time, and I think Pay might need a little bit of a rest.
Yeah.
I'm
So
really happy to have conversations. I'm on LinkedIn. If you're sending a message, hit the thing and add a reason why, because too many people just like spam connect, and that doesn't work for me. So that's my boundary. I'm also on Blue Sky. I'm finding my mojo back. I'm just saying whatever's on my brain on Blue Sky. And I'm really loving that. I blog about all these sorts of things. So it's cheesy. I'm happy to have the conversations. Very few people reach out to me. So like people, not no one, but like the conversations help my thought processes develop. So I'm always grateful because people new on their journey come with different insights. So I love all that sort of stuff. And also, nothing happens unless we have a conversation.
That's 100% true. It's just saying that Vasanti is my branch director. She's looking out for me. She's been following me since I kind of started because she knows I'm doing this and making sure that I'm looking after myself. Thank you, Vasanti. Um, I am looking after myself, so I appreciate you for that. Paul, it sounds like I wanted you to go through everything on your document, but maybe it's another time we do this in a
There's
different
so
way.
much of that document to unpack. There is, but like I try and find. But before doing this, the irony is, before doing this, like, what the hell am I going to talk about for half an hour? And I and no, but there's so much to talk about these things, and I am seeking. I, people, it, there's various shitty stuff going on in the world. To be neurodivergent, it's actually quite a good time. So at least we can start to articulate what's going on and understand about it. So that is really positive. We sometimes lose sight of the positives going on, and the neurodivergency story is actually really awesome,
Can
and
I just
especially
say
because
something?
people like Pay around to help us.
Thank you. Can I just say something though?
Yeah,
Yourself, Ellie, and Chris, three of you are people I follow on Blue Sky, and you all are pretty prolific. And I appreciate that, even though if I am not, but I learn so much from all of you, what you're going through, but in particular yourself, Paul, because you talk about the ADHD a lot. And I think one of your previous posts, and I don't think I engage because sometimes I just kind of scroll. It was specific around the rejection sensitivity dysphoria that you didn't touch on today, but you
no,
did tweet skeets about it,
it's fascinating.
and it was very helpful in the stuff that I'm going through with my kids and stuff like that. So all I'm saying is, Blue Sky is still new-ish. There is still not lots and lots of stuff happening, but three of you are kind of like three of you plus Engin Okan. The fact that you
Who's
are
who's Ellie? I think I know which one, but I just want to double check.
Matthewman.
Is that the football interested
Yes.
person? So Ellie, I have to say, I've gained an interest in football because I've followed Ellie. Or like this is the way, just the way that she presents it is
Oh,
just. It's just like she's just being herself, and her
yeah.
pleasure comes through, and it's a way I haven't actually understood it previously. And I'm basically a fanboy. I went up to her at London School and I said, "I love you," and she's like, "Who the hell are you?" I was just like, "I love you." No, that's all I wanted to say. Bye.
Yes.
But
So carry on doing what you're doing,
thank you.
and we need to kind of like have more conversations about this
Always up for it.
at a different time. So with that, thank you so much. And before you go,
Get a good microphone up. Much love, Pay. Thank you.
yeah, no,
But you need
absolutely,
to do the
yeah,
Sam's. Sam's, if you like what I've said, if you found it useful, cup of tea, cup of coffee, just skip one cup of coffee, put it
yeah,
on the QR code instead and send it
yeah,
off to Pay and her friends because I wouldn't be here today doing this without Pay having incentivized me and also the conversations that I have with
mm,
Pay in the background, which I'm always grateful for. So
thank
do that
you
thing.
so much. Thank you, and thank you, Paul. I will see you again soon at some event around.
Cool. See everyone. Bye.